Thanks for joining us. Now, you're going to start not with Samoa, but with the coverage of Syria today.
Syria to the Arab world, and Britain's The Daily Telegraph is leading with a quote by a rights activist in a Damascus suburb. And that quote there, you can see, anyone moves, they shoot at them. Now, that person is telling the paper troops opened fire on a crowd of more than 20,000 people waiting for Arab League monitors. They used tanks and machine guns. The person there saying nothing can be done for the injured because troops are targeting anything that moves. And that photo there that you can see is of a boy being targeted by a security officer. That video posted on YouTube. Always a question of verifying things, but we've been used to that for several months now, Lorna.
Right. Well, now we have just seen, in fact, that the Russian Foreign Ministry has said that the first comments from those Arab League observers in Syria show that the situation is, quote, reassuring. But despite that, many doubts have been raised about their credibility, haven't they? Including the head of the mission, that Sudanese General Mohammed al-Dabi.
Well, Le Figaro, the French paper, is asking just how could the Arab League have appointed this man? He was the founder of the Janjaweed militia and a loyalist to the Sudanese president Omar al-Bashir, who is wanted for genocide. And there you can see that cartoon of him shaking the hand of Assad, who has a bomb behind his back. Now, Le Figaro says, well, perhaps the explanation could be seen in terms of diplomacy. A diplomat tells the paper the Arab League didn't have much choice in their selection of al-Dabi. It wanted an experienced soldier from a country distant to Syria and not at odds with Damascus.
Now, the year is ending. We're the last weekday of the year, certainly, and the papers must be full of lots of comment and reviews of what's happened this year, particularly, of course, the Arab uprisings, which are not solely in Syria, of course.
Well, thanks to our colleagues here at the Arab desk at France 24, I was able to look at Al-Quds Al-Arabi, and an analyst in that paper, Soubi Hadidi, there you can see his photo, is arguing that what's going on with this West interpretation of events in the Arab world is nothing less than the stereotypical Western view, condemned by philosopher Edward Said in his book Orientalism. Now, that article says there is a paternalist attitude going on among Western analysts and not enough focus on the specifics of each country. The UK paper, The Independent, meanwhile, has a feature by Ragida Dergam, who's a columnist for the London-based Arab paper Al Hayat. She says Arab women now must rise up and be heard. She says the confrontation between modern and traditional Arab women has to be fought out now. And she's arguing if that serious work doesn't happen at this point in time, the Arab awakening could end up as a slumber that leaves the region in the dark ages. So that's a bit of a warning there.
Well, certainly not too much of a paternalist attitude from her, certainly. But let's move across the Atlantic now to the US, because Iowa Tuesday is coming up, and that caucus season that kicks off in earnest the presidential campaign next year. And that will make things clearer about which Republican candidates will be the front runners.
Well, in theory, that's usually the case, but comment writer Gail Collins in the International Herald Tribune is saying, ignore Iowa. It's only 100,000 people taking part. That's not enough to judge anything on. She says that's about the same as the number of people going to a football stadium. Now, for that piece is, of course, for infotainment, to more or less argue the reverse, that in fact it is important. The cartoon in the USA Today International Edition captures the mood a bit. An Iowa farmer petting his pig, saying, now, it'll all be over soon. That as the candidates vie for attention frantically. So, of course, that's something to look forward to on Tuesday, to see what Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney are doing in that race.
Indeed. Now, finally, you get to 99 years of age, that is, and you suddenly decide to divorce your wife. Not you personally, Nicholas, but this is somebody that's made a feature in the Italian papers.
Well, it's incredible. This is in the Corriere del Mezzogiorno, the Italian paper, and a couple in Naples, Antonio and Rosa. They're definitely not Romeo and Juliet here, because he's 99 and she's 96 and quits. They're over, they're splitting. He found secret love letters in a drawer before Christmas, and he's saying, well, I want a divorce. She's agreed, and gosh, they were together for 77 years. Isn't that incredible?
And this was all about something that happened 6 decades ago.
Incredible.
As well. So he definitely can't let it go. Thank you very much indeed, Nicholas, for that look at all today's international papers. Well, still to come here on Live from Paris, business news. And it's 12 months since we were told there were only 6 months left to save the euro. We'll be looking at how EU leaders struggled through 2011 and asking if there are any positive signs for 2012. Stay tuned for all the details after the break with William Edwards.